create a document. What was the value of these new cities and my contribution? That there wouldn't be an underclass. Cities built for the future do not have to have built into their DNA poverty. Cities do not have to have poor people. They do not have to have an underclass. So I wrote a white paper that talked about how you alleviate the poor, the disadvantaged, that they never get created in these environments. So I go off to Portugal as an invitation from this guy by the name of Steve Lewis, asked me to come to Portugal and present this document. So I go to Portugal, I present the document, I'm there 3-4 days having a lot of conversations, and I'm very comfortable because I've lived and operated globally for 20-25 years. I've lived in Paris and went to the Montreux Jazz Festival on the Swiss Riviera where I met my wife. So gentlemen, no, that's possible.
Oh yeah.
I got the pick of the litter. But I ended up someplace where women like her also happen to be. In this process of talking to Steve Lewis of Living Planet, we were riding back to the airport. And he says, "Look, you've done these things. You've been global product managers. You've been CEO. You've done all these sorts of things. The partners and I have been talking, and we wondered if you'd be interested in joining us." And I said, "Well, I'm always open to an advisory consulting capacity." He says, "No. We've talked, and we want you to be a vice president. Vice President, Investor Relations, and New Business Development. Think about this and let us know." Well, with all things, the first thing I did was call my wife. Because I shared with the young men yesterday, we have a thing called Us Inc., Us Incorporated. We're our own corporation. Opportunities that come to us, things we do get vetted between us, like a company. And every family, every individual is, as I'd say, me Inc. You have a top line, you have a bottom line, you have expenses, you have incomes, you have liabilities, you incur debts. So you have to operate like a company. So I had the conversation with her, and it required a sizable investment, because part of this model of Living Planet is that we're financing it different. So it required, I write a check, as had all the partners done, written a check. Well, for those of you who have met my wife, you know she's the chief financial officer of my family, our family, which, by the way, is only smart. Marriages are not 50-50. Sometimes they're 90-10, sometimes they're 40-60, but in all cases, let the person who does something well do it in the relationship. So I'm not going to handle money, which I'm bad at, because I have an ego. That doesn't make me a smart man, it makes me a fool. And it makes me someone that doesn't keep someone like her for long, because fools don't. So there's a division of responsibility in our family. So we talked about this, we talked about the impact, we talked about the cost of my getting involved in this. We talked about the fact we probably have to live in 4 places. We'd have our home in Arizona, we'd be in San Francisco, we'd have our home in New York, and one in Portugal, because that's what was required of me. So we had to talk about that. So at the end of this conversation, we decided that this was the thing to do, to move forward. So I committed to that. And part of my commitment was not to get paid for almost 2 years. Not to earn income for almost 2 years. When I travel, pay for it myself. When I have meetings, pay for it myself. When I have lunches, pay for it myself. Because that was our model. Not to go to outside money, because once you take outside money, you have to also take the influence of outside money. And this model was so pure that we didn't need the pressure of an investment banker or venture capitalist saying, "Well, when are you going to turn a buck? When are you going to turn a buck? When are you going to turn a buck? By the way, when are you guys going public? When are you guys going public?" We couldn't accomplish what we wanted to if we had that kind of pressure. And as a consequence, Harvard University is doing a case study on Living Planet, the innovation of the century. Nothing's ever been done like we're doing it. There'll be no cash money. All cars will be voice-activated pods. We'll power the city for free. We'll tear the city down in phases every 10 to 12 years because of the technology we have, and promise the residents and the businesses that every 10 to 12 years you will have a new structure that embodies the best of technology available. That's our commitment to them. All homes sit on an IP stack, have infinite broadband, because that's your right. That's our Bill of Rights. It is your right. And they have smart walls. Our Bill of Rights says it is your right to be educated for free, from preschool to 4 years of college. It is your right to have free health care. Why is that so? Simply because people cannot live better, stronger, or make a contribution if in fact they're unhealthy, if in fact they're undereducated, and all the pathologies that come from that. So everyone has to be productive. Everyone has to contribute. Now understand, our cities are like any other city. Churches, schools, parks, but in the parks, it's hydroponic grass. Your water will come from a process that an inventor has where you can turn air into water. The voice-activated pods will create friction on the roads we have that create an energy that will power, in time, all of Portugal for free. Why is free alternative energies necessary? Number one, to save the environment. But most importantly, those are resources you can use to grow your life as opposed to paying your electricity bill. So we have to think about what's in the best interest of making all people as productive as they possibly can be. We have R&D in our cities. As I said, we have global partners where they will create research and development in our cities. So whether it's a Microsoft or McLaren or Mercedes, they will create the next big idea. And it is your Bill of Rights, what they create today, you have in your home tomorrow. Not because you can afford it, not because you knew someone, because I need for you to continue to contribute to a new world. So I need everyone to be smart. Why is all this taking place? All these new worlds, all of these activities. Well, if you look at those that are going into the areas of sustainable blue and green fields, our justification for what we're doing lies in that. Cities, globally, occupy 2% of the world's landmass. 2% of the world's landmass, but they consume 85% of the world's resources. So if we're going to fix our problems, of our environmental problems, of global warming, it's going to happen in the cities. So our cities are built in such a way that we can zero man's impact on the environment. So you will at all times be living in a green field and a blue field. We have ecosystems that we will maintain for better living. And I have to tell you, this is real kind of a Star Wars and Jetson thing as I come home and share with my wife 3 or 4 times a week. Someone I've met with and who has an experiment or an idea that blows you away. When I came back from Portugal, I told her about I sat with a gentleman who had an invention that basically said, you're going to be in Portugal, but what if you want to be on the West Coast? Say you wanted to be on the ocean. He had set this up before. He hit this little button, shades dropped, they opened up again, and the first thing I smelled was salt water. It opened up, and there outside the window was the ocean, lapping and coming in. He said, well, maybe we're not dressed for that, we're dressed a little warmer, it's winter, let's go to the Alps. Did the same thing, opened up, room temperature dropped by 30 degrees, and it was snowing. The ultimate virtual experiences. This is what all of these cities are built for. All these efforts are built to spearhead and motivate the development of intellectual property. New ideas, new processes, new inventions. When I was with the men's group yesterday, we were having this conversation about the changing nature of the business environment. I said, first of all, the conversation we're having is not relevant because that is the environment that is changing. What we knew, and by the way, I said corporate America is nothing more than a microcosm of American society. So you won't find anything there you won't find in American society as a whole. And how did corporate America begin? It began after World War II, the Industrial Revolution, when businesses were looking for individuals who were disciplined, who could accomplish strategic goals, who knew how to command and manage people, and the available workforce were white males coming out of the military. So they brought what they knew with them: rank, privilege, forced assimilation. And that became corporate American culture. The culture today is for you to define. Why is that so? If you are around 20 years old, 21 years old, the 2000 census said then, and they identified 10-year-olds, that if you were over the age of 50 years old in this country, you had a 1 in 4 chance of being a person of color, 25% chance of being a person of color. But if you were under the age of 10 years old, you had a 75% chance of being a person of color. 75%. So as I told the young men yesterday, first of all, I'll be very disappointed if anyone leaves this gathering of the last couple of days and refers to themselves as a minority. You are people of color. 82% of the world, 82% of the world has the ability to produce color. So why are you a minority? You are people of color with rich histories. But part of that history cannot be our victimization, because nobody cares. Over the last 18 years, the United States has provided legal citizenship to aliens at a rate that's equal to the African American population. So our new bosses, our new companies are run by people who don't understand how we've been here for 400 years and freed for 130, and we still got this white-black thing going on. But we need help. We need special business considerations, disadvantaged businesses, 8A, set-asides, which was, to me, always one of the most damning things that we ever agreed to. The whole idea that there'd be like a 10% set-aside for minority-owned businesses.